Hello everyone and thanks for dropping by the video. Hope you guys had a lot of fun in Bronzer Cup because that is finally over and we are into Kanto Cup for week 2 of Season 5 of Go Battle League. For this week I've actually decided to make a pretty big investment because I want to try out some different mons in the Kanto region, and I came across a team that was posted by PvPoke, and it is Dewgong, Snorlax, and Hypno. So I did go ahead and invest 2 Elite TMs into my Seal that I evolved on stream tonight, and yeah, this team has been pretty solid. So I actually went on a 29-1 run, despite being a little bit lower MMR than I'm used to playing at, but overall it was pretty fun, a lot of sweaty battles and a lot of great plays. So I've taken a 5-0 set from my stream, and I'm going to be shoutcasting over that real quick, just so you guys can see how the team operates. Overall, it's a pretty standard team. You have a safe swap in Snorlax, you have a very strong opener in Dewgong, and you have a great closer in Hypno, where when it has an energy lead, there's very few Pokemon that can actually hard wall it, and it gives you a fighting chance in just about every battle you can play. So hopefully you guys enjoy the battle, and yeah, let's get into it. Again, at this point, I've had a pretty good time, 24-1 with this team so far, just climbing back from Hilo, and we have Dewgong into Aerodactyl. So pretty spicy pick here, and I kind of start off, and I really want to swap out first, but I realized that these Ice Shards are chunking Aerodactyl just as much as those Rock Throws are chunking me, so chuck an Icy Wind at this Aerodactyl, which I expect to shield, and I do get it. And at this point, I realize that I can commit to the farm down if I just shield once as well, and that's exactly what happens here. So here I'm going to get to another Icy Wind here right before I go down from these Rock Throws, and I'm going to have an Icy Wind ready for this Snorlax that's incoming. So my opponent actually switches out before the Aerodactyl faints, which allows me to just come in with my own Snorlax, and yeah, regular Snorlax versus debuff Snorlax. This means that I can just go to town with these body slams and potentially build up an energy lead before I finish this mid matchup. And my opponent here, I believe, decides to go for a superpower, but because I know it's 1 time debuffed already, don't really need a shield here, and I can just comfortably look down, take another charge move if I have to. I'm actually expecting another superpower, but it's actually a body slam, and this allows me to easily win that switch advantage and see what's in the back here. And Snorlax is very healthy at this point, probably enough energy to get to another body slam, which is just a ton of value here. My opponent comes back in with a Rolling Muck, which is actually really bad for my team, right? Because I have a Hypno in the back. So what I have to do is I have to make a quick catch with Dewgong here to catch the Dark Pulse, and then I can come in with Hypno and basically sack this Hypno, right? I'm not gonna shield anything. I'm just gonna throw Thunder Punches at it until it goes down. And I know that Hypno is tanky enough that he can take 1 Dark Pulse. So I'm not going to shield anything here, and I can get to a second Thunder Punch before he gets there. He actually tries to come in and catch a Thunder Punch, which I'm anticipating already. So this gives me a little bit more energy, actually, and lets me get to a second Thunder Punch, so I can just back to back here. And once I do that, even if he snarls me down, it doesn't really matter because I can come in with Snorlax, shield whatever move he's going to throw at me, and then get to the body slam and be able to KO. So pretty decent first game for me, and I'm going to move on to the second one here. So these are pretty fast because I notice my elo is still pretty low because I'm getting instant matches, so still in a pretty populated pool of players. Alright, so we queue up again, and we have another opponent. Let's see what the lead is, and it is Dewgong into Hypno. So this is a pretty bad matchup. Got to bail the Snorlax immediately, and we're going to kind of see what he tries to bring in here. So the Hypno kind of stays in. He gets 4 Confusions of Energy and decides to actually throw energy here. So I'm not going to shield anything because I'm anticipating that he's going to swap out. And Hypno does eventually lose to the Snorlax, and he brings in the Wigglytuff. So this is okay. I have the Body Slam banked from earlier, so if I can get a shield here or maybe do a bunch of chip damage, then I can actually come in and farm down. So this is quite nice, and my opponent here actually shields the second Body Slam, so this is perfect for me. Even if I lost switch advantage, I can come in here, farm a bunch of energy, and I come back in with the Dewgong, right? So here with the Dewgong, I'm not going to reach the Icy Wind before the Wigglytuff reaches charge move, and I decide not to shield here because you know, if the Hypno comes back in, then the Dewgong is pretty much dead meat anyways, and I commit a little bit more farm, but I actually have to switch into Hypno here. So I've got some energy banked on my Dewgong already, and I'm just kind of hoping that this Hypno with this energy lead can actually carry, and I go straight for the Shadow Ball. So the important thing is I don't really bait here. most people with one shield, you would think, oh, I need to throw a Thunder Punch to try to get that last shield, but I found more often that I've had more success going with the higher expected value move. So in this case, they have an Alolan Sand Slash in the back, and this is normally not a great matchup for Hypno because the Steel typing is going to resist those confusions, but because I have such an energy lead, I can chuck as many moves as I can at it, and I have knowledge that I have a Water Pulse in the back of my Dewgong. So this is actually perfect for me. I wound up getting through his last shield and blowing through my own shields to be able to chunk him down a little bit, and I'm going to go for another Thunder Punch, knowing that he either has to throw energy or he has to commit to the farm down. He's not going to get there in time. So I come back in with Dewgong, fire the Water Pulse, and we have our second win. Pretty smooth overall. Just to be able to anticipate coming in with Hypno and then banking a bunch of energy on Dewgong definitely saved me in the long run, because I definitely wasn't going to be able to commit to the Ice Shard down on that Dewgong. And we actually take a look at my selection. So, alright, coming into our third match over here, going up against, I believe this is a Hypno lead, yep, so got to swap out to Snorlax once again, and we'll see what he has to bring in. And this time he gets two Confusions in and brings in a Mew. So this is a very strange swap for me because Mew doesn't exactly have a great matchup against Snorlax. Snorlax's licks are going to chunk even harder against Mew than the Hypno. And then these Body Slams, I mean, Hypno can withstand a couple of Body Slams before it has to think about shielding. But in this case, bringing in the Mew and then taking the first Body Slam, this gives Snorlax a huge advantage. And I go for the second Body Slam here. This person doesn't shield at all, and they bring back in the Hypno. So Mew, I guess it did its job. It got one shield out of me, but I saw the Snorlax that my opponent has to overcome, right? So I'm going to chuck Body Slams at it. He's not going to shield. He's going to farm a bunch of energy, and he has to throw energy at some point, or this Snorlax is going to KO him. So I decided not to shield here, and it's actually Focus Blast. This is kind of interesting moveset on Hypno, but I know that if I come in with my own Hypno and start to really chunk down, that this is going to create a huge energy advantage for me, but he has an Alolan Muck in the back, and this is really bad for Hypno. So I'm going to throw the Thunder Punch here, trying to do some chip damage, but he actually shields this, so it's a very interesting move, and I know that Hypno can survive one Dark Pulse, so I'm going to try to get to another move, and then I'm going to swap out to my Dewgong. So my Dewgong here has to be my MVP this match, and it has to be able to carry, so swapping the Dewgong here. I'm going to shield the first Dark Pulse here, because I know it's going to do the most damage. And then it's actually a Sludge Wave, so this is fantastic. He has no energy left, and I'm going to chuck an Icy Wind at this Muck here. And now I know that I'm in a pretty comfortable spot here, because even if he gets to a move here, he's not going to be able to chunk so much out of me, and he's still Switch Locked, right? So I can actually commit to the farm down with this Icy, or this Ice Shard, and then throw an Icy Wind to Hypno to be able to get the win. So this is a pretty interesting match overall, and it's one of the ways that even if Alolan Muck has a very strong matchup against Hypno, if you do some chip damage, you're actually able to kind of 2v1 the Alolan Muck in case your Snorlax gets taken out. Right? So, so there's 3-0, and then we're going to go on to the next match here. Instantly queue here. Alright, going against my fourth opponent in this set. And we're leading Dewgong into a Lapras. So this is a pretty tricky matchup. Based on the simulations that I've kind of run, you're definitely not going to be shielding anything in this matchup unless they're going to be forecasting that they're going to go for a Skull Bash. This user chooses not to go for one, so I pretty much know that in the Zero Shield matchup, if you Icy Wind twice the Lapras, you can go Water Pulse the rest of the way, and as long as they don't Skull Bash you, you're going to win the Zero Shield matchup. So here, my opponent is actually doing very well. It takes 4 Ice Shards to get to a Surf, it takes 5 to get to an Icy Wind. So my belief here is that they think that they're outpacing me, but they're actually going to be falling behind here. So after the second Icy Wind debuff, you can see how little this Surf actually does. So here's the Surf. It does maybe 10% of my health, and I'm going to go straight for the Water Pulse, undebuffed, I guess, and it's going to do quite a chunk of damage. So here I'm going to continue to stay in here. He's going to continue to try to Surf at me, and I'm still going to not shield. And this is probably still more exciting than the Bronzer Mirror. Yeah, eventually this is a matchup that Dewgong is going to win against the twice debuff Lapras. So neither of us are swapping out. But at this point, my opponent probably realizes, oh, something is wrong here, and I need to throw more, and I need to throw energy. But it's a little bit too late. I know that I can zero shield this, and I can commit straight to the farm down. So I'm in a fantastic position here with an Icy Wind queued up for this Hypno. I'm gonna let my Dewgong go down so I can line up my Snorlax against Hypno. And I pretty much know that there's going to be a swap that's encouraged, and he shields the Icy Wind. So I'm going to come to Snorlax here, start to lick down. I don't have to shield anything on this. Even if it's a Focus Blast, it's not going to KO. And I know that at this number of confusions, it cannot be a Focus Blast. So I'm going to continue to stay in this matchup. And my opponent is not throwing anything except for punches. So don't really need to shield anything. And it's another Thunder Punch. So I'm going to get to 2 Body Slams, or just about 2 Body Slams, and chuck them both of this Hypno, and we're going to see what's in the back. So he shields, and then I throw another Body Slam here. Kind of let the confusion in, probably shouldn't have done that, but I'm going to chuck another Body Slam, and he's finally going to let that through. I can commit to the lick down, but instead, I'm going to come straight in with my Hypno here. This Hypno is debuffed. I have no reason to shield. Even if it's a Shadow Ball, it's not going to deal enough damage, and we have a 2-0 shield advantage against another Snorlax. So this is pretty good for me because I actually chose to preserve some of the health of my Snorlax, mainly because the Hypno was staying in. So I was kind of curious because if a Snorlax is staying in like that, or if a Hypno is staying against Snorlax like that, there's probably something weak to it right in the back, or something that he doesn't want to see. So it's really good here because I have a 2-1 or 2-0 shield advantage. I'm able to get 2 Thunder Punches off. I actually see that the timer is about to elapse to end the match. And good thing I have a lot of health on my Snorlax, and I have 2 shields, right? So nothing that this Snorlax can do is going to be able to win the match, and we actually go to time, and I win by HP. So that was one situation that had I let the Hypno take down my Snorlax, I probably would have lost that match because I would have come in, and Snorlax is very, very beefy. It's hard to tell whether my confusions would have outpaced the looks or not, but I didn't want to be in that situation. So had to quickly identify that I had an opportunity to swap out there. So okay, getting into our 5th and final match in this set. It's Dewgong versus Dragonair. So you love to see it. This is kind of the lead that you definitely want to see with Dewgong, and they instantly swap into a Alolan Marowak where I have a Snorlax answer. So the thing about Snorlax versus Marowak, in the Zero Shield, Snorlax can actually win against Marowak by going straight Body Slam because the lick does so much damage. And Marowak would have to commit at least 1 shield on a Body Slam to be able to fight back with Bone Club. So here I know, as long as I throw first and he doesn't do anything about it, then I can continue to apply all of this health pressure. And my opponent here throws another Bone Club, I throw another Body Slam, and at this last one here, he decides not to shield, which gives me the clear signal that I can lick down and win switch advantage. So here I've completely neutralized the enemy Alolan Marowak, and which is really good for my Hypno in the back, right? And I can commit to the lick down. Don't get to this Body Slam quite before the Dragonair is able to Dragon Breath me down, but here, once again, I'm going to be Icy winning here. I get a little scared here, and I think that he's got a Dragon Pulse, so I wind up shielding here, but it's just a wrap. But we see him P-Tide there, so that's great. So I'm going to Icy win here. My opponent has to shield here, so that shield that I spent, it doesn't really go to waste because he has to match. And he's got a Hypno here, so I'm going to stay in for 2 confusions. I'm actually going to defer the confusion damage, the second one, to my Hypno. And after throwing this Icy Wind here, I'm actually going to catch the Thunder Punch on my Hypno. This is fantastic. So he's used all of his energy, and we're actually at even energy right now, and I can easily just go for the Shadow Ball here. So I don't bait here, because if he decided not to shield, I would still have to farm up to about 4 confusions or so to be able to take away that last shield. My opponent comes in, and he knows it's over, and he winds up conceding. So this is a pretty solid team. Overall, it actually got me up to a stream record of 29-1 out of 30 matches, which is pretty crazy. I know a lot of it is because I played a ton of auto wrecks for the last few days of Little Cup, so it wasn't exactly against the highest tier opponents, but these were pretty established meta teams that you were able to see. Might be a good snapshot of what you might expect once you enter the Kanto Cup. But I highly recommend this team. We're going to take a quick look at the PvPoke ratings for this specific setup, just so that you guys are familiar with what matchups that you might see in the future. Alright, so welcome to the PvPoke analysis part of this, and I gotta say, I didn't put this team into PvPoke actually before I decided to play it. I just knew that it was one of the recommended teams, and I really wanted to give this Dewgong a shot. I did end up investing 2 Elite TMs to be able to build it, and I think it was definitely worth every single Pokecoin or penny or whatever you want to call it, because when I scroll down to the score here, yeah, we got A's across the board, and it's no surprise, right? Some of the biggest threats that are in this meta, the Hypno itself, or actually Dewgong is considered a counter, but I don't think it is so much with Thunder Punch. But you have Snorlax and your own Hypno to match. You have great matchups against Alolan Marowak, and then Dewgong and Snorlax can definitely team up and take out that Alolan Muck. So the only things that I can really see as potential threats, potentially Lapras could be a threat to this team, but as you can see there, as long as they're not baiting the Soul Bash and they're just going to go straight Surf, you can answer that very easily with double Icy Wind into Water Pulse for the rest of that matchup and come out with an Icy Wind if you go into the Zero Shield. So the only threats that I can see that are going to be huge problems is mainly Blastoise. Blastoise was a pretty big problem when I played against it in one of my later matches on stream, but overall you're not going to see many of those. And then I can also see that some of the more spicy picks like Alolan Graveler, that's probably going to pop up because I have seen it on stream a couple of times. But otherwise, I think this is a really solid team. Obviously, you have to have a legacy or double legacy Dewgong, but if there's anything that you need to invest your elite TMs into, especially for overall Great League and Kanto Cup, I would definitely look into investing into a Dewgong. And I'm sure that if you can't, a Lapras is going to be a fine replacement for here. The main thing is being able to have this like very beefy double front line for your Hypno to kind of come in and sweep with shields. I think that's a very valuable strategy right now because the thing with Hypno is even against its force counters like a Alola Muck, with an energy advantage, Hypno can give you a fighting chance. So I hope that's enough for you guys to get started in Kanto Cup. I actually played a second team on stream as well, so I'm going to look to feature that in the next video, probably coming up on Wednesday. So yeah, so hopefully you guys get a good running start. This is definitely a fresh meta. I really like it. I really hope that this cup kind of sticks around a little bit. Originally, I was really worried about all the Alolan forms coming in and disrupting the meta, but it seems like we have a pretty good balance of teams and a pretty good balance of Pokemon that we're seeing. So yeah, once again, if you like this content, feel free to subscribe or comment or share. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.